So we're gonna create a little quick presentation. So yeah, my name is Vaughn Bergen. I'm a born and raised New Yorker. My family has art gallery that's been in my family for about 90 years, since my great uncle started it in 1932. And we were always on an ever expanding exploration of what is the highest impact art can have on the world. What is the highest expression of art? How do we use art as a spearhead for social change? And we had that message and that mission since the early 30s. And we were very innovative at that time. We represented African American artists. We represented women artists in the early 30s when no one was really doing that, because that was in alignment with our mission. And we were clear on what our mission was. And it didn't matter your skin color or your gender. And that was definitely an incredible choice, but it was a challenging choice, definitely very against the grain.
They got blacklisted in the 50s.
So we would create these spaces, these physical spaces that were creatively inspiring, where we were immersed in art with a message. And then the art sales would go into funneling the solutions that would be illuminated. The challenges were illuminated by the art, sometimes the solutions, and then the art sales would funnel into implementing the solutions. And so from these roots, took a 5-year sabbatical, traveled the world, studied the top solutions I could come across. It was a really inspiring journey, because I realized very quickly that the world is not short on solutions. It's really abundant in solutions, from energy technology to regenerative agriculture, to water technology, to eco building. There's a great abundance of solutions. What is the challenge is scaling those solutions to the level that we need and getting the support to these incredible solutions and these teams that have had quite a rocky journey. Often when you have a big mission, you usually meet a lot of resistance alongside of that. So what we are creating, Kayla, Rose, and I, we are creating a campus and for an incubator and accelerator program to create an environment that gives the top solutions that we've come across the greatest chance at success. Not just creating a space that optimizes workflow and makes one sacrifice themselves for their purpose in life, but to create balance, to optimize also rest and rejuvenation and one's optimal health and well-being, so that we are learning from nature and how we are in alignment with nature, how we are in alignment with our purpose, how we are listening, putting Mother Nature at the head of the council, and really being informed on having a deeper relationship and unfolding of relationship of us as an extension of nature.
And we really believe in eco-excellence. We come from a wide variety of experiences across the globe, individually and now together. So I'm Kayla Rose. Lovely to all meet you. Thank you for joining us on your Sunday morning. So my background is in the high luxury world. I created a concierge agency out of Singapore and worked in the super yacht industry. I was known for, I'll flick one more forward, for bringing fun into traditional industries and bringing color and life, and through bringing a unique flavor and energetic vibration and frequency, I really made a lot of success in these traditional industries, well beyond my years, creating some incredible experiences and really connecting people with the intention from the heart and a really true vibration. And through these experiences, I really realized that there's a lot of emptiness in beauty that's often created, and without having that natural zest or connection that is deeply rooted, it can be quite an empty experience despite all of the beauty that you put around you. So for us, we really pride ourselves in not only beautifying and creating incredible physical spaces, but really tapping into the deeper frequency of the materials and the energy of how you're working with the space and the people that you're bringing into that, so that when someone enters that space, they're in training upward and really feeling it in every level. This is some of the events that I was doing across the super yacht industry in Singapore and the beautiful Marina Bay Sands.
So in our journey, we have been in some remarkable spaces in our exploration of what is a creatively inspiring environment. What is an environment that just by being in its presence fills you with a sense of joy, of well-being that really fills your cup? Because if we're going to be birthing these solutions and really investing our time, our energy, our resources, we want to create environments that also support this.
It's supporting the path of most allowance, or as some say, the least resistance. So how can we have everything around us working in our favor? You know, there's enough to battle in this world. So how can we employ everything possible to really make that forward movements, that upward spiral?
And this is an ancient exploration and ever unfolding. So in this exploration, we came across some of the most sacred sites in the world to learn what makes them so sacred, what makes them so powerful, including the Damanhur temples of humankind in northern Italy, where they have birthed a tunnel underground that started as a meditation chamber and then expanded into one of the most remarkable temples in the world. Some call it the eighth wonder of the world. Using selfic technology, spiraling materials to move energy in specific ways, and immerse one in art that expands one's consciousness and allows one to step out of one's typical momentum of one's way of being, so that one can easily explore a new way of seeing the world, often the unseen world. Also exploring places like the Vatican, which have remarkable sacred geometrical architecture, ancient architecture and beauty, but also a very heavy energy because of the history there. So how does the history of a space and the intention of the building of a space affect a otherwise absolutely gorgeous canvas? So also what happens in these spaces affects how the energy is stored within the physical space. The Milan Cathedral, one of the second largest cathedral in Europe.
And a cathedral that understands experiences. We did a sunset violin set that was just absolutely incredible up on the roof of the Milan Cathedral. So they're definitely tapping into something of a more playful frequency.
Yeah, and it's you can see, like, as you're looking at these images, I invite you to explore what it makes you feel, and to start feeling into why they're built in such a way. Like what these pointed the figures at the top are like obelisks that are really like drawing in energy from its surroundings. So start to feel of like how physical space receives energies and amplifies energies into the space. So we've been very blessed to have a plethora of experiences of sacred spaces that have just filled us with a sense of wonder and awe and inspiration and deep healing as well, just by being there and by being receptive. You know, it's a relationship that you cultivate by being in these spaces. These places have been a great source of inspiration for the project of Emerald Mountain that we're birthing in Costa Rica, because we're exploring how does this physical space contribute to creating the optimal environment for living and learning and creating from a space of joy and a harmony with nature and with each other. And these are some of the best places to explore that. Other sources of inspiration and really motivation is the deep knowing of how valuable it is to create spaces that optimize their specific function. whether it be spaces for creating inspiration, for optimizing workflow and getting into flow states, for healing and well-being, or for rest and rejuvenation. We want to explore how to create creative spaces as the container for innovation and for these innovative ideas to flourish. So the question is, how do we do this? How do we learn from the ancient ways and create a new relationship with them for today? What makes a space creatively inspiring and supportive of our optimal health and well-being? How do these spaces truly do this? And there are many factors, as you can imagine, with compounding gains for one another. So one is the building materials. So during our travels of Egypt, we learned that the ancient Egyptians would carefully select their building materials for a very specific function. So materials such as rose granite were used as a form of energy storage and amplification for both energy technologies and spaces for healing. They would do both. It would be an energy source as well as a space for rejuvenation. Other materials.
They like the rose granite.
Yeah.
They're thinking that this is a really good one to write down.
And then other materials were used for containing energy within the confines of the space. The energy was known to sometimes be so powerful that it would actually kill plants outside of like temple spaces, for example, because the energy was so charged. They had to create a container because it was a specific function and it would charge one up, but you can go too far with that, actually. So they would use other materials for amplification and other for containing it within the space. And then they would actually wear specific clothing and accessories that were complementary to the building materials. Like the famous Ankh, for example. This is a cartouche. This is like a magic wand, right? It amplifies and directs energy. And then they would wear golden sandals that would pull energy from the earth, from the floor that was charged from within the earth.
They actually had 3 different types of sandals. So the gold ones would be one when they really wanted to get super activated, but they would also be, if you wore gold sandals in some of the temples and your nervous system wasn't ready for that amount of energy, you could actually kill yourself. So they had other different sandals as well as a medium and a blocking of the energies as well, so that they were able to enter these high frequency, high vibrational places in the way that they truly intended, head to toe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So once they're all charged up, put on the wood sandals. They're good. They're full. They don't need to keep receiving. So this is a nice comparison of, actually, this is the Arenal volcano in La Fortuna, where we're birthing our project, versus the temples of Giza, or the pyramids of Giza, because this is what mountains do, right? They are the same. We are just learning and being informed by nature how to focus these energies in a specific way and anchor it to the earth. Same as trees are just inspiration of obelisks. These are focusing energy from the earth and from outside of the earth, and creating a bridge between them. And the ancients knew this very, very well. So where did they get this energy from that they used within the temples? They harnessed it from the earth's energy fields. When some call it the Taurus field, but there's many different energy sources. Just like we have many different energy sources within our bodies. We have, as you know, different chakras, meridians, microcosmic orbits, Dantian. There's many different names from many different civilizations and many different forms of energy. And the earth is the same. We are a microcosm of the earth. We have the same ratio of water that the earth has to land. We have the same mineral content of the water within our body as the ocean. So as we are informed more of our bodies, how we can become more deeply informed of how the earth's energy flows and how we can be a receiver and giver of this energy and live in harmony. So they would place the pyramids and the temples in very specific sacred sites, just like you would think of pools of energy within the body. Like there's different parts of the body that are more abundant in energy sources, and they were very tapped in to where to draw energy from in the most efficient way.
And for the specific purpose.
Yes. And the materials, of course, were complementary to that. So they were essential for gathering this powerful energy efficiently. So structure and form in the materials were all very, very specifically selected.
Which all comes from first listening to the land and understanding what is wanting to be birthed in that place. You can put anything anywhere, but will it be in its highest function in that place? You have to really feel into what is going to be in the full alignment for that location. What is it that you're wanting to birth and co-create and bring through, and where does it want to be? Because then you'll be on the path that isn't meeting constant resistance. You're then in partnership and moving forward together.
Yeah, so they would use. Go ahead.
Jumping in. There's 5 more minutes left for this session, so I don't know how much longer there is in your presentation, but there are some interesting questions. So I'll let you just like get to some kind of closure, because there are questions which are about the Emerald Mountain, and that can be super interesting.
Open up the chat. Okay, have you already started Emerald Mountain? Yes, we are in the process of purchasing the land in Costa Rica. We've identified a really beautiful hotel that we are in the process of the final investor round to purchase the hotel and bring it to its fullness. And we worked, like we were just mentioning, really asking the project where it wanted to root and begin, and it asked us to be in La Fortuna, and it's been very synchronous how this land has come to us, how it's spoken to us, the interaction with the animals on the land, and it's moving in a really fluid way because of the pre-energetic work and aligning with the land and working with what it's wanting.
I don't know if it answered your question, Joshua. Does it come up? Yes. And there was also an interesting question from Victor. I don't know if you want to go on screen, or I can just read it out loud. I lost
I'd appreciate it if you would. Thank you.
Okay. So can you say more about what Orion Rose looks for when bringing in projects and teams into the accelerator, about the resources you make available, and perhaps about some of the projects and teams in the accelerator that you find most inspiring?
Could very well be that I've misunderstood what the Orion Rose was, but if I did, please go ahead and correct me.
Orion Rose is Vaughn Orion and Kayla Rose, and it's how we show up in business together. And Emerald Mountain, I would say, is our biggest baby, our biggest project, and that is the Jungle Incubator and Accelerator Jungle Campus in Costa Rica that is hyper-focused on these regenerative solutions. So presently, we are purchasing the land. We've been doing with our different investments and projects, we've been doing a micro version of the different programs that we're implementing, and with the physical land we'll be employing the various pieces in a full program. The program will be approximately 9-month program depending on the scale of the project, with 2/3 of the program honoring the wellness components and doing the kind of the feminine first, which we see is a big something that hasn't been honored in today's society. And when from that filled state, once you're really in the right, the best and highest alignment, going into the aligned action of your incubator or accelerator program. I'm giving short answers. I'm sorry, because we have a few minutes, but I've also typed
quick.
Goes by quick. I've also shared our website, emeraldmountain.co, not .com, .co, and you also on the screen have our phone number and email address. So we'd be more than happy to meet one-on-one and discuss further. On our website, you can also see our vision deck and a topia world, an interactive world of the campus itself in the different phases of what's already existing and the added buildings that we're going to be adding on. You'll also see the natural hot springs water. This property has a golden natural hot springs, which is extraordinarily rare, and it's like bathing in an abundance portal.
I'd like to also circle back to Victor's question because it was really interesting. What are you actually looking for when bringing in projects and team into the accelerator? What is it that you're seeking?
So there's a few areas of focus that are in our highest excitement. So we are very passionate about creating sovereign regenerative community models. So what does it really look like to live fully in harmony with nature, to be a sovereign entity, and to share that model with the world? So we would bring forth different facets and different experts that are explorers on the leading edge of this question and put them in the room together alongside a council and really look at the multifaceted levels of this in great detail and explore it from that space, and then bring in investors into that container and really initiate those into their purpose. So it is also a process of initiation. So there's many different sides. I don't know how much we have time to go into such a multifaceted level, but again, we would love to continue the conversation. But yeah, it's sovereign regenerative community models. Also, disaster relief is very important to us. Different forms of regenerative agriculture and energy technology that also complement regenerative community models, but then can also be explored as a model within them, but also can be scaled in different forms throughout the world. So we like to work locally and work within a smaller container, but also pick projects that have a really
Scalable
high
blueprint.
service to be scaled throughout the world.
The highest impact, because it's a lot of our model is sort of the opposite and traditional model. It's a huge amount of focus and resources, and we believe we're in the age of Aquarius, and we're both Aquarians. We believe in council, and we have a very diverse council that includes, our spiritual council, and we look at things from a 360 or a little bit more degree perspective to see where we can really employ a ton of resources into a project to ensure its highest success, because we see that there is an abundance of solutions, and it's just needing the right support and runway.
Yeah. So for example, if we were incubating and accelerating as alternative styles of eco building and creating creatively inspiring space, which was the theme of this conversation, we would bring in experts of ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, and the golden ratios, people who have even studied even older civilizations. We would bring in experts in biomimicry and ontological design and sacred geometry. And we would bring them all together to see what pieces of the puzzle they all hold, because there's a lot of forgotten wisdom and forgotten knowledge, but many beings throughout the world have different pieces of this puzzle that we are either remembering or rediscovering. So we want to create a container that is creatively inspiring, that optimizes our ability to tap into our inspiration and higher guidance, and then fill in the blanks of ancient wisdom from that space and that container, and then implement it with the resources needed.
Okay, thank you so much. This was just perfect amount of comprehensiveness. I know that we could go forever with what can be implemented, but at least the practicality of bridging the feminine and the masculine aspect of bringing the structure into the inspiration that is coming from the divine can be merged. So if people want to get in touch with you, you already shared your website. There's also more information about the Emerald Mountain, about you too. And what's the best way to reach you guys? Is it through the email?
Yeah, the email, you have our phone number on screen as well. And you can also look at orionrose.org for those that were asking a little bit about that as well. It shares a little bit more about us. And we also detail a few of our projects. We haven't put too many up just yet, but more will be being shared soon.
Okay, thank you so much for showing up and giving us a taste of what's possible. And thank you everybody for the questions and your engagement. Have a lovely
Thank you,
rest of
Thank you
the
so
day.
everyone.
much.
Happy
Pleasure to be
Sunday,
here.
fun day.
Bye.